Ready Check Radio. Hello, Internet, and welcome once again to the Relic Grind. Ready Check Radio's Final Fantasy XIV / Square Enix podcast. It's Thursday, it's 7 p.m. Eastern. That means we're live over here, twitch.tv / Ready Check Radio. If you're listening on Audible, iTunes, Spotify, all that stuff, watching on YouTube, by all means, do me a favor. Head on over to readycheckradio.com in the upper right-hand corner. You'll see all the socials, Twitch, Twitter, Facebook, all the different audio versions of not only this show, but also our gaming weekly gaming wrap-up, Gaming Gumbo, which airs on Saturdays here on Twitch at 7 p.m. Eastern. You'll find all of those socials. Give them a like, give them a click, give them a follow, give them a subscribe. Throw a comment in there. If you like what we do, tell all your friends. It's easy, it's fast, it's cheap, and it's a great way to support us. We appreciate it. Pre-show, if you can get asked about Final Fantasy TCG streams, they will be back Monday as normal, 7 p.m. So what, 3 days from now, 4 days from now, Monday, 7 p.m. Eastern. We got a lot to go over. Re-raise tournaments happening all over the place. Taking a look at the Opus 16 meta, since we haven't had a chance to with my theater show and all that stuff. Anniversary kits are on their way from Square Enix, so we'll have a lot to do. Stop on by if you're interested in Final Fantasy TCG. But that's not what we're here to talk about today, because there is no Legends. Nope. Okay. We only bring it to this show when it's Legend review time. If you want to learn how to play, obviously come on by that stream too. We're more than happy to slow it all down and teach. New players are absolutely welcome, so are questions. I'm not an official judge, Adam. I'm not an official judge, but I'm almost an official judge. Almost.
Yeah, I don't know what that really means, but sure, yeah.
Oh, that means I've passed all the Square Enix tests.
Oh, I guess.
But then,
let me rephrase.
Then COVID happened.
Let me rephrase. It sounds like you're probably about as far to the process as I was.
Yeah, the only thing I have to do is assistant judge a tournament under the direction of a certified judge.
Yeah, that was the same thing that I had to do. Yeah.
I was scheduled for it at Gamers Heaven in Phoenixville. It was a limited an L3 tournament sponsored by Square Enix, and then it got canceled due to COVID. So who knows when I'll actually be certified? But
I guess it's just I was also saying I don't even know what it means to be actually certified.
Right.
Not really get anything.
So if you want to see official streams from an unofficial judge,
Lord,
Mondays at 7 p.m. Eastern, you're learning from the best, man. We spared no expense. Tonight, joining me to talk over all of it, Mr. Chris Montoya. What's up, Tarkoth?
Greetings, programs. I do want to take a moment to piggyback off of Gaming Gumbo. Great show, by the way. If you haven't check it out. But clearly we have concrete proof that PepsiCo and Dr. Seuss have been in league together, and they've been trying to prepare us for this. So here you go with your Mountain Dew, green eggs and ham.
Gross. As if the green grilled cheese that we discussed was not disgusting enough. Gross. How you doing, Adam?
I'm just gonna pretend I forgot all of that. I don't even know what the hell any of that means. I'm doing okay.
If you didn't watch Gaming Gumbo this past Saturday, you wouldn't know. If you haven't, it's definitely worth watching.
I don't know if
that show went off the rails real fucking quick. Like it got off the rails and it stayed there last Saturday, which sometimes are some of the better shows. So go ahead and give it a look. Hey, gents, ultimate progress in Final Fantasy XIV, Dragon Song, Tark, you're up.
If anybody's been watching my
going
streams,
so well.
They were, and we've had people together, but consistency. You need to have that to progress, because if you're still working out kinks from earlier phases, you're not going to progress. You're not going to have the time to see the mechanics over and over to make those consistent. So we might be losing a few people from my group. I'm trying to get arranged a couple people to replace it.
Are they getting fired?
One stepping away is just apparently it's too much, and then another is a close friend and probably will follow that person. So
Oldie old. If I go, I'm taking them with me.
Yeah, but I got 2 people that I did 9 clears of UCOB with, so they're going to be watching the stream tonight and hopefully get caught up to speed.
They looked around the guild, the free company, Cronus, and they were like, all I got to say is who's coming with me? Huh? Who's coming with me?
Yeah, it's tough. A lot of people don't know what they're really in for.
Yeah.
Especially when it's on content.
How's your prog growing?
We lost some time this week, so we didn't really get to play a ton. We're saving the boy, I guess. Pretty much. We killed Eyes a few times. Yeah.
Okay.
So
and you guys, if I remember right from last week, you guys have already seen the Enrage.
We killed Eyes. We've killed Eyes.
Oh, you killed Eyes. Okay.
Yeah. We killed him. We've seen the rewind a couple times, but then we had to cut a day short, pretty much we saw it, and then we had to cut our day short. And then, so we'll probably be on Thornton 2 this week at some point.
Oh, we're looking for those kills, boys. We're looking for those kills because if I get it first with a pug, with a pug, you guys should just stop subbing. If I sneak in there with a pug and not I'm gonna go get carried. I'm talking about a legitimate pug. Yeah. If I get it, you just stop subbing.
There are pugs that are on Death of the Heavens. Some are on Dragons, I think I've seen. I mean, you can get them in there, but I typically just raid with my group for the 3 days, the 2.5 days that we go, and that's pretty much it. So, yeah I mean, at this point, it's going to be close. I don't know if we're going to make it by 6-2.
I don't think we are either, unless we get some major consistency and progress going on in the next 2-3 weeks. So.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard. So, phase 6 is also really hard.
Let me jump ahead then to something we're going to spend a little more time with later in the Final Fantasy XIV segment. But I do want to jump ahead because this ties into what we're talking about. Yoshi P did an interview, of course, right, this past weekend. Mm-hmm. It was published on a Japanese site. Translations, of course, provided by Reddit and the community over there. MKillerB, thank you so much. One of the things he did said, and like I said, we're going to come back to this interview for other stuff, but he did talk about Dragon Song. And he said he praises the skill of Raiders since the new Ultimate is even harder than UCOB. For the next Ultimate, it may be hard for the team to keep making this level of difficulty each time. So as you guys are running into potentially hitting 6-2 without having downed it, hearing that the team may have difficulties keeping this level of difficulty, is that almost good news for you? Because then you can kind of revert back to your couple of weeks of prog and then get the kill? Or is that disappointing for you that you like this type of, hey, I might not get it by 6-2, and you know what? That's kind of cool.
I'd say for me personally, it's probably a bit more disappointing, but at the same time, I don't ever expect them to have the same level. Every Ultimate's different in different ways. Mm-hmm. I mean, this is definitely the hardest one, I think, overall. But I never expected the next one to be harder, per se. I'm sure at some point we will get something harder than this. Just might take some time. I like the difficulty of this fight. I just personally think, I think minimum this fight probably requires 120 hours from a normal, or not even a normal raider, a good raider. And probably upwards of you're looking at 200 hours for some other groups. It's going to fluctuate a lot. It's really hard. So I would say, but if I had to pick one, I'd probably say I'm a bit more disappointed. I would love for everything to be this difficult. It gives me extra stuff to do. I don't mind going into this fight every week for 3 days.
Tark, you on the same page, or hey,
absolutely.
Let's take it back a little bit. It is a challenge for a couple of weeks, but I could be done.
I just want to see more consistent Ultimates. I want to see this level of difficulty. If they have to bring it down a little bit, that's fine. I'm sure they'll layer it with some gimmicks to, artificially do it, like doing mechanics wrong, quote unquote, like uwu. But I don't mind either way. I just love this series. I love the challenge. I love getting in there, spending the time. After 40 hours of Thornton, though, it's getting a little bit tiring. I like to see something new.
Yeah, you always have that in Prague, though, always. Whether it's Final Fantasy, WoW, any other MMO, yeah, you always have that. All right, I'm sick of banging my head against the same segment or the same boss. That's one thing that I did appreciate, and I know we've spoken a lot about dungeons and very linear and stuff like that, but that's one thing I have appreciated in the past about a lot of World of Warcraft dungeons is, or not dungeons, raids, is that that some points there are multiple branching paths, right? Where take on any of these three bosses. And I know this doesn't apply to a Savage fight or an ultimate fight, right? Because it is just a fight, not a raid like the Alliance raids or something. But that option of, boss A is, we're spending hours and hours and hours here. Let's go. We need something different just to get and typically you go do that something different for a night or two and you go back to the first one and you one-shot it, right? Because it's just like everybody needed that break was what it was. And I wish Final Fantasy did more of that. Anyway, we've got a while before 6.2, but 6.15 is here. We did our little preview last week. Let's talk about our impressions of things. I kind of said, hey, you know what? There's seems to be a little more here than a normal 6.15, or than a normal .15. But I also said, it's still probably ultimately only a couple of hours of content, and indeed it is. Across the board, basically everything you were probably wondering about, whether it be Hildy, Omega with the Chronicles of an Era, the Tataru questline, everything seemed to be 2 quests. like the Dailies had more quests because you got 3 of them.
more prereqs than.
Well, yeah, I guess if you didn't, you probably had the first prereq, no problem, as long as you played the story, right? Because that had an Aether Current involved in the first quest. But then the second one was a side quest in Thavnair, I think at 84, 85, 86-ish. So if you hadn't done that, then yeah, you did have more prereqs than anybody else. So let's just kind of take it one at a time here, gentlemen. I'm assuming everybody's worked through all of it, right? I would be...
No.
No, wait, what?
No.
What? Have you done any of it? Life happens, so if you didn't get to it, you didn't get to it.
I was sick, and then Ultimates. So it's been a week for me, but I was way behind on Hildibrand. With the new Hildibrand coming out, I made it a mission to catch up. So I finished Heaven's Ward Hildy, right in the middle, a few quests in on Stormblood. So I should have more info next week.
Okay. All right, then Kronos, you and I will carry this brief review.
Yeah.
We'll carry this brief review. I think for me, the weakest of everything was Tataru. For me. Yeah. That's not to say the other stuff was a lot stronger, but I think Tataru was kind of the weakest. That felt really like just a one and done. Go visit all 3 major cities, come on back, and you're done.
Yeah, I'm not really sure why it's a thing. Feels like, at least to me, my impression that I got was maybe they're trying to give other NPCs some new threads or something, and this is their excuse to do it. I think they could have just done that though without having a quest. But I mean, maybe this will continue. If this is all we get though, it'll be kind of weird. But yeah, it was a lot of nothing, honestly.
I think they're going to build off it for the future.
Yeah, I would hope so. I feel like these are just little teaser things to maybe something down the road. We've seen that before. So Tataru was the go. You can knock it out in. If you don't care about reading it, you'll knock it out in 3 teleports. Literally, you'll zap yourself to the city. Say, hey, Limsa, here, want to buy some clothes? All right, I'm off to Ul'dah later. Hildy took a little bit longer. Again, still only, I think it was 2 quests.
2 quests.
Might have been 3. Might have been a small third one in there, if I'm not remembering quite right. But it was nice to see the gentleman inspector again, even though he himself doesn't do anything until halfway through the last quest. But then there are some great animations and some great moments with the gentleman inspector. I'm not going to spoil them, but let's just say when his face is under high winds, it is hysterical. And then obviously the little cutscene thing at the end when they, do their little wrap up film noir gentleman inspector text splash on the screen is great, is absolutely great. Does get a little weird. We do see a friend though, Kronos, that I'm wondering what they're gonna do with. Is it a spoiler? It's freaking Hildibrand. I don't know.
It's kind of spoilery if you haven't gotten there yet, I guess. But it's an interesting cameo. I don't know where the hell we're going with it. Yeah, I think this was the most interesting one to me. I figured it would be anyways. Well, actually, that's not true. I kind of hoped it would be Omega, but yeah, I think this was the most interesting. At least watching the cutscenes and everything. It's kind of what you expect. I can't really it's hard for me to really rate it until it's we see the whole arc,
the whole story arc. Yeah.
But it's interesting and I'm interested and I'll keep doing it. I mean, I do all the side quests in this game anyways. Y'all were talking about my maps are clean.
Oh yeah.
They don't have any exclamation points
on them. No, I didn't have to do anything to unlock them, but those were prerequisites for the tribe dailies. If you want a little hint on whom we might be talking about, if you've watched our FFTCG streams at all, this is the card that if Torchwick ever won Nationals, he would want as his full art, because it would be the most useless. Taking away the text box would be useless as far as this card's art goes. So if you've watched our streams there, you might know who we're talking about, a certain little one-drop summon. So, yeah. What else? Speaking of Omega, another one that, hey, just read the lore because they're setting it up. They're setting up a little bit of a thing here.
You think this was set up? I feel like this was
it. Might have been wrap up.
Yeah, I feel like this was it, which is why I'm disappointed. I don't think we're gonna get any more.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I guess I don't want to spoil Tark since he obviously hasn't done it, or people in the chat. But it just I thought they were gonna do something, and then they just did.
It ends.
Yeah, it kind of just ends, and then I just felt like the thing that they did, we kind of already did, just not in those areas. I don't know. I mean, I get what they did, but I guess I want to okay. I'm just gonna say this. I guess how are we gonna have an Omega quest and not go to Ultima Thule at all?
Yeah, at all.
Wow. Okay, I thought that for sure that would be a destination.
That's weird to me. So yeah, I was pretty disappointed with this because I guess I was expecting something to go there and do something there and put maybe push that forward, but that's not what this is at all. So
nope.
Yeah,
not at all. And then the dailies, which it's so funny. In the live letters and in the patch notes and everything, they were like, "We're not going to call them Beast Tribe dailies anymore. They're just Tribe dailies." Then when the text splash came across my screen that I had unlocked, the Beast Tribe dailies, and I was like, "Wait a minute! I thought we're not calling it that anymore." But
I guess that transition will be in a later patch.
Yeah, they'll fix that transition a little bit later. Not really much to say, right? They're dailies. Same thing with the custom deliveries and stuff.
I don't. Did y'all do the custom deliveries? Or no?
No.
So the intro quest to hers is actually kind of interesting. It actually has a story to it.
Oh,
so
cool.
I thought that was kind of cool. You get some cameos there too from other characters inside 14.
More important than just starting up at a hospital or a clinic?
No. But no, I actually
no.
I actually thought it was more interesting than I thought it would be, at least. So, but I mean, obviously, I've only done the first quest because that's all you can do so far. So.
Yeah, I mean, it was a couple hours. And most of it is reading. I actually, now thinking back, the only time I had to do anything in a quest was the dailies. I think the rest of it was just talking to people, teleporting, talking to people, teleporting, and talking to people.
I don't
a little bit disappointing. A little bit disappointing for me.
Did you actually have to fight anything in your dailies?
No.
Because I did not.
I have not yet. No.
Okay, all right, yeah, I was just curious because you said that, and I was thinking, I was like,
No.
I'm pretty sure in my dailies all I did was read and throw some paintballs. That was it.
Tataru, I'm not really sure where they're going with, so I don't really have a lot of hype on the Tataru side. Hildy, I loved. I absolutely loved Hildibrand. And he's somebody that when he was first introduced way back when, I was like, this is too goofy to be here. But the dude grew on me. And so I really enjoyed my half hour with Hildibrand or 20 minutes with Hildibrand in this one. And I can't wait to see the way they play the rest of this out. I like dailies, so that the way dailies are done in Final Fantasy, I think is tremendous. They are very short. You don't get tied down in a lot of, oh my God, I got to play for an hour to get these dailies done. Nope. It's just, let me get over there. I'll take 5 minutes, 10 minutes at most, and I'll be done. So Tataru's a miss for me. Hildy is a hit. Omega, I'm going to wait because if we are done, it's a miss. If it's going to go somewhere else, which is probably unlikely, then it could be a hit. I'm going to give the patch a thumbs up. It had enough for me for a .15. Like, I love Hildy, and I'm fine with the dailies, and that's the stuff I'm going to be doing over the next X weeks as we wait for the next patch. So I'm going to give it for a 1.5. I'm still going to give it a thumbs up. I'm just not really sure where Tataru and Omega are going, if they're going anywhere. But Hildy and dailies, I'm all for it. What do you think, Kronos?
I think it was fine. Yeah, it's not like I didn't enjoy doing some of them. I did feel like Tataru, I'm not really sure what they're doing with it. I liked Hildy. You said voiceovers. I kind of wish they would voice over Hildibrand. I know why they don't do it, and it costs some extra money. But I would like to see it eventually. That would be cool. Omega, I just really get the feeling that's it. Like, I don't know. They even say at the end like that they're just gonna go back to, and they're gonna because like the way they put it is they're gonna roam the new areas. So I assume you're just gonna see them there, like you do in every other area randomly.
Probably.
Yeah, it just feels like they're not gonna really go anywhere with it. It just felt like I don't even know why they did it.
Well, and it's a .15, so I don't expect a whole lot from them anyway. It's not like I went in here going, and I said it last week. I was like, hey, we'll probably have what, like 5-6 hours tops of like new stuff to do.
Yeah.
And then you'll be done. And that's pretty much what you had. If you count the time to do dailies, it took me less than that. But if you still need a prerequisite for the dailies and stuff like that, you could hit that 4 or 5 hour mark.
Yeah, I enjoyed it. It's the only thing I was disappointed in was Omega. Really, like Tataru, I just wasn't really interested in. But Omega was kind of a disappointment. Everything else was fine.
Yeah,
I like these
just run of the mill. I didn't expect to be blown away by it.
No, no.
This is one thing I like with the half patches is that they're just really non-essential. You do them as you would. There's no need to rush in and do them right away, unless you're really gunning for that mount minion with the Beast Tribe dailies. Sorry, the tribe dailies. So I've taken that. Throughout the course of my game. That's why I'm so far behind on so much. But I'm trying to catch up now that I have more time. That and the Omni 90. So I hope to be caught up here pretty soon.
Dude, the hippo cart is the cutest freaking thing ever, though. For the dailies, the mount for the dailies. It is absolutely amazing. And I do like how the ability on it has 3 different colors. The red, yellow, and is it blue? Yeah, it's blue. Red, yellow, and blue. That little hippo, man, that's it. That's it for me. You are 615 hippo. You are 615 for me.
Yeah, I don't know. I think the minion looks cooler.
The minion looks badass, and yes, I'm absolutely gonna get the minion. But that mount, I'm just like, come here, you big hippo bitch. I'm gonna give you a hug.
Oh my god.
that mount's going into the abyss of mounts for me. It probably will.
No.
Yeah, I'm just gonna
it's adorable.
I'm gonna blow the horn as soon as I get it, and probably never use it.
Oh, you're such a grump.
I'm not a grump, dude. I have like 108, like 60 or 70 mounts. Like, I can't use all of them.
I loved him. You have to use them for the opening quest too, Tark. So you'll get to see them right away.
Okay.
And then
cool.
Depending on what your dailies are, on what day you actually unlock it, there is obviously a daily quest that you mount up and you have to use its ability, just like previous tribes. And so yeah, you'll see it right away. But if you get the quest on day 1, then you'll have the ability to. He's adorable. That big hippo bitch. I love him. I can't wait. So we talked a little bit about the Reddit or the interview that was translated on Reddit. And there's one thing specifically I want to get your opinion on. We're going to talk, we'll circle back later during Love It or Leave It on this topic too. So maybe don't tip your ultimate opinion on this one, but let's kind of talk through it. When they were thinking over at the old Square Enix headquarters about how to revamp PvP in Final Fantasy XIV, they did have the idea. They were batting it around.
Brainstorming.
Blue Mage only PvP. So limited class Blue Mage only. The idea was for it to be a battle royale style game with a large arena in a gradually narrowing area, and instead of picking up weapons, you would use Black Mage's learning ability and fight with those abilities as you learn. So we almost could have potentially had, maybe, a Blue Mage Battle Royale PvP mode in Final Fantasy XIV, Tark. I don't think that's a sentence I ever predicted in covering this game over 10 years that I would say anything remotely like that.
That's an interesting thought process. I'd be game to try that out. That sounds like a lot of fun. I would never use self-destruct because that would just unless it would put you at 1 hit point and then you could, healing wind yourself. But
just use re-race, Angel Whisper.
There we go. Okay. Yeah, there's a lot of things they could do with that. I would just
Oh my God! Please don't.
I can't. Yeah.
If they, I know we're going to talk about it on Love It or Leave It, but if they ever put a battle royale in my Final Fantasy XIV, I might set it on fire.
Well, you've already,
I don't know.
Already gave that away then.
They kind of got the groundwork for it in First Soldier. Why not just put that?
Okay, well, go be First Soldier. Then they already got it. You're done. Now, granted, this was just like part of a brainstorming session, right, on how do we fix PvP, and this was one of the things that they threw at the wall, and it, obviously ends up being crystalline conflict that sticks to the wall. For the non-Blue Mage PvP, they were considering like narrowing things down to only 8 jobs and kind of balancing it around that. But then, most smart developers like the creative Team 3 did, they said, people want to go to PvP and play their own. If they're going to do that, they want to play their own class. We can't really narrow it down to 8 jobs. What do you think of this kind of like finding out after the fact, Kronos, some of what the ideas might have been?
So I have a lot of thoughts on this, actually. I understand why they didn't do it, because I think that one point is really crucial. Like, people want to play the jobs they play in the game, and they just want to take it into PvP. And also, you just have an extra way to like level your stuff. You put it on Blue Mage, it kind of limits it, because now you're like asking people to unlock Blue Mage and then unlock another PvP mode. And it's already a job that's not very well received in the game. However, I actually think this sounds way more fun than what we got, and I would probably play the shit out of it. But
oh no,
I understand why they didn't do it. I actually think
gonna say love it. No,
I actually think like the idea of like learning mid fight and every like time it's kind of different is really interesting. And I think Blue Mage so I think one of the things that comes into play with the current PvP that we have is everybody like wants their jobs for some reason to still be balanced around the jobs within their role, even though roles don't matter. Like, I hear this all the time where it's like, man, Astro's not that good because White Mage exists. And it's like, why does that matter? They're not like,
yeah, it's not 1-to-1.
It's every job's different. It doesn't matter that if White Mage is better than Astro, it doesn't make like healing. The fact that you're green and blue and red, it's like kind of doesn't matter. You all kind of
it doesn't
do the same thing. So I think Blue Mage would like, you wouldn't even have that like argument, or at least like the thought of that argument, because everybody is the same thing. You're just like learning, you're going around the map and learn. I think it sounds really interesting. I don't know if like the Battle Royale is necessarily what I'd want though, but I think a PvP mode with a bunch of Blue Mages running around learning stuff and then fighting with the abilities that they learn makes things really dynamic, which is kind of cool. But then again, as another thought to my thought, Blue Mage doesn't need more multiplayer content. That's not the design of the job. They actually need more single player content, but that's a whole nother thing. But I do think it sounds interesting. I do.
Oh, it's going to be an interesting love it or leave it, because I opened this up a little more in love it or leave it than is discussed here. I can't believe both of you are just like, yeah, that sounds neat. I'd give it no. No.
You're just so anti-PvP. You're kind of biased on that. It just you just don't want it in your Final Fantasy XIV game.
I have been very positive about Crystalline Conflict. I have been nothing but positive. Even saying, hey, I might not play it all that often, but I think it's good for the game and for the people that want to play PvP. I have been positive about that one PvP aspect. You put a Battle Royale in my Final Fantasy XIV, I'm going to start setting couches out on the street on fire. I'm going to start burning shit down. Don't do it. See, I can't say anything. I can't say I'll unsub, because then when they do it, I'd have to unsub. And I don't want to do that. But there's Torchwick in chat. He'd try it too. Other things in this interview. Tark, what did you like? What did you want to talk about in this interview?
Damn it, I had it highlighted here. Where'd it go?
Very good, Tark. Chronos.
On Crystalline Conflict, just the planning stage took around a year. Which is a lot of time to devote to redesigning all of PvP. One thing that really piqued my interest was when they said that the team in charge of PvP didn't just focus on PvP. They were working on other battle content and job design, which got me to thinking about like the evolution from Shadowbringers to Endwalker as far as the PvE side. It was just like a small layer, nothing really revolution happened except for Summoner and the new jobs, but maybe PvP kind of needs its own team that does help out and collaborates with PvE to kind of make sure that they feel the same. But I think, there should be, for battle content, there probably should be two separate teams, and they work together. They could do other things, but that's where my interest lied with this article.
What'd you like in there, Kronos?
Yeah, so I guess I was looking more at the duty support thing and how he's saying more people in Japan. I would like more detail on that, actually. I guess that's kind of where my head was at. He says it,
so he says since the implementation of duty support in 6.1, the number of new players starting the game has increased, especially in Japan. People who were hesitant about the MMO genre coming in because of this. He thinks there's potential for further growth in the Japanese market. He also says he's happy there's been so much feedback from the new players saying it's easier and more fun than they imagined. I think the context here is obviously around the idea of playing quote-unquote single player.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess I would just like to see, because to me it's I feel like they're almost assuming they're just drawing that one-to-one line. They're like, oh, well, we got a player increase, so it must be because, people are starting ARR because of our thing. But I don't really know if is that really true, I guess.
Well, see, but I would think that they are smart enough to look at expansion time normal growth and then abnormal post-expansion launch growth as two different entities. Hey, we have 1 million Japanese players. We typically fall to about 200,000. Then an expansion comes up and we go to 800,000. We're also getting an increase in normal just player-based growth right now anyway, so let's call it 1.2 million is what we would expect to see if everything were equal. We're seeing 1.8 million. I would expect SE analysts to be smart enough to do growth comparison like that.
Yeah, I mean, I would hope so too. I just would like to see that detail of it, as opposed to just it's up. Yeah, I don't know.
Well, they ain't giving you those numbers, bro. They ain't giving you those numbers.
Yeah, I know.
Interviewer did talk about 6.1 and the void scenes, particularly nods to Final Fantasy XIV and Golbez. And Yoshi P obviously wouldn't confirm anything, but he just reminded them, hey, Endwalker is an homage to Final Fantasy IV, and we are going to pay off people's expectations in that regard, which is a really nice way of saying, yeah, that's fucking Golbez. Yeah, that's Golbez. We're totally
my favorite Final Fantasy.
We're gonna pay that one off for you. I also did think it was interesting that when they were talking about the gods in the Myths Alliance raid, hey, maybe don't expect them to look like what you think they look like based on prior game depictions, or even be the same gender as what you think they might be. So that could be interesting as well. And then, news of the news, right? The new End Game. Glamour used to be it, but now it's all about adventure plates.
Yep.
For me, I love this. The devs are going to experiment with implementing adventure plates into other content, starting with 4-person dungeons, in a way that doesn't interfere or interrupt a player's experience. I'm all for it. Thumbs up across the board.
Cool. Now they just need to make dungeons more interesting that I actually want to play them.
Oh, shut up. You want to play them. They're good. They just could be better. That's all.
I've been doing a bunch of leveling dungeons, so it's all good. It'll be
there.
So
you're jaded and bitter. You got to stop doing that for 3 weeks, and then you'll be like, oh, I love their dungeons. It just goes in cycles. Switching gears to other Square Enix news. How about that Summer Game Fest, boys?
Yay. I mean, it was kind of lukewarm, in my opinion.
Yeah, there was nothing Square Enix related.
There's nothing there.
Right? There's Outriders.
Yeah, well, Outriders. Yeah, that was it. That was it. Which we've already talked about. World Slayer's coming. We didn't really get anything. We got a new trailer for it, but we should get more information about that tomorrow, when Outriders does their End Game stream, where they're going to be showing off their own stuff. But I guess Square Enix listed as a partner. I would assume at some point over the next 2 to 3 days, as we go all the way through these different events and into the Xbox Bethesda showcase in the weekend, I expect we'll probably see Square Enix crop up again. But I actually, because they showed at Sony, I was like, I have no idea what they would even do at Summer Game Fest, since they dropped the 16 trailer in the State of Play and Sony State of Play. So I wasn't all that surprised to not see them really represented there, besides Outriders getting the chance to show a trailer for World Slayer. I'm buying World Slayer, by the way. Are either of you? I know, Kronos, you played through it a couple of times, but did it kind of run its course for you?
I'll probably make a decision closer to the release. I'd probably say yes right now, but I'm not like super sold yet, I guess.
Tark?
I plan on getting it, and as soon as I'm done with Jedi Fallen Order, I plan to play it on Ready Check Radio.
There you go.
Damn.
So speaking of 16 being shown at the PlayStation State of Play, we have now had a week. Obviously, last week on the show, we were giving gut reactions since we really only had time to watch it a couple of times, and then we had to go live with the show. So I promised we'd come back and revisit this, gentlemen. I'm assuming everybody's watched it a bunch more times.
A bunch more times and then half speed so I can
pause, half speed, quarter speed, all that fun stuff. Any findings, any thoughts? What are you thinking here, Tark?
Garuda is the best looking of all the summons, in my opinion. You can fight me on that. I like that there appears to be a break gauge. I love the icon dance stances that you can do and the different abilities and combo those up. Other than that, not really much more that I gleaned from it.
So taking a look at it, I saw a lot more about the combat, Kronos, that I was just like, yeah, it is legitimately Devil May Cry. Yeah. Like, it is absolutely, and it already had that flavor. But like, if you watch some of these screens you're seeing now, if you look in the upper left under your character screen, you can see like an L1 button to toggle between different icons and their abilities. And it seems to just immediately be able to be triggered back and forth in combat. Very reminiscent of Devil May Cry's weapon swap. Like almost it's the exact same thing.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking about stances.
Yeah, changes the palette in the lower right-hand corner for the abilities. It does look like if you watch the abilities scrolling on the side as they're popped up, that there's probably a positional check on different attacks on which way you are shifting the control stick. Again, very Devil May Cry. Like if you're pulling back away from your enemy and you attack, it's kind of a backsplash, almost a dodge with a force out front. Where if you push towards them, then the attack lunges. It's still one attack button, but the DualShock analog stick being in a certain position triggers. There is one moment too that I wanted to ask you guys about, and I'm not talking about the big like kaiju fight scenes. I'm talking about the regular combat.
Sure.
There isn't a moment that in the and I think it's right. I'm gonna cue the B-roll again because I think it's pretty close to the beginning. In the upper left-hand corner by Clive's health bar, it shows his name at one point. That could obviously just be a placeholder, right? Because there are areas in the rest of the gameplay trailer where an icon's name or logo is displayed there. Mm-hmm. And so they might just be filling it with Clive's name as a placeholder for now. But I thought it was really weird that in what looks to be a very single-player-oriented affair, why Clive's name would be by his health bar. Unless that's indicative of possibly other people joining you for short durations here and there, or maybe just being a placeholder in the trailer here, stuff like that. You're going to see it here, right there, a little Clive right next to the health bar.
There was, I think, a little bit of dialogue where talks about bring the dominance together. So I'm hoping maybe that if we don't get a party, that maybe you can swap to a different character that you prefer, whether it be the female or the big hulking Titan dude. And then you can kind of combo and they maybe have their own combinations and such, or specials or limit breaks.
Yeah, or it may just be like an AI partner with you for a particular mission and you can see their health bar, or it could be nothing because like you don't see it later when there's more icons present, abilities present. You don't see it anymore. So it could just be a placeholder for right now because that was early game combat. If you look at Clive's level compared to later, when he has icons, you don't see his name there, Kronos.
Yeah, so I think there's a couple of things, right? I think you're onto something with. I think it's probably an earlier part of the game before you have like abilities, and it's just like, how do we fill up the screen? I think we talked about last week too, like potentially if you look at it, because there's like Phoenix on the left side of the screen at some point, maybe you play as Joshua for like a small segment.
Yeah.
Okay. I think that's possible. It's also possible maybe you play as someone else for a segment. I mean, we don't know. Right. But then like another point too is like, why are there even numbers on the screen other than like, hey, we're Final Fantasy, look at our floating text. Like it's kind of weird. It just, I don't know. I mean, to me, that's the only reason the floating text is there is because like, they're like, well, how can we make sure that some people realize this is Final Fantasy? Oh, floating text damage. Okay. Well, just party names for one guy. Yeah. I don't know. I'm still hyped for the game, but I just wish it was something different. I guess.
I do wish it was something different. It's hard to look at it and be disappointed.
Yeah, it's just me being bitter. I understand that. I'm self-aware enough.
But I'm with you. Torchwick and I were talking. I was doing some weeding yesterday to get ready for his graduation party, and he was out on
not that kind of weeding.
Not that kind of weeding. He was sitting on the side porch with me, and he was talking about, I wasn't into like Bayonetta or Devil May Cry. They just really didn't do it for me, and so this like is absolute disappointment for him, right? I mean, he's like, he looks good. I'm sure the story is going to be great. It's by Creative Assembly 3. I'm sure the music's going to be wonderful. It's by Soken. I'm sure those aspects, the graphics obviously are going to look very, very good. But it's just something. Dope. It's just something that I might play at some point, just because he wants to beat every Final Fantasy, and so he plays through them all. But he's not. If he had the checkbook, right, he would not be buying this day one. He'd wait for it to be on sale. He'd pick it up and he'd beat it just to say, I own it and I beat it. I have all the Final Fantasies. I'm a little more, and I've said this last week, I like both Devil May Cry and Final Fantasy, but I play them both for very, very different reasons.
Yep.
But I like absolutely different reasons. So I am still, as I continue to watch this, disappointed in that this doesn't bring to the table what I typically expect from a Final Fantasy. I still feel like, and I agree with Torchwick and I came to the same conclusion, that totally fine if you want to go this route. Totally fine if you want to go this route. But do it in a Stranger of Paradise way,
Yes.
Tark.
Yes.
Where it's a side story or an offshoot or something like that.
Yeah, I kind of want more, I'm okay with the action base, but I want more party dynamics. I want more RPG than action, I guess, for my Final Fantasy.
And that's going to be the key, right? Like, how many RPG elements are in this? Like, are there RPG elements in it beyond just picking what your icon abilities you want to use because you have a limited quote-unquote hotbar? That's not RPG
icon
to me.
Skill trees. Yeah, we haven't seen anything like that. We probably won't get that till for another 6 months.
If it's there.
Yeah.
It may be treated exactly like Devil May Cry, where basically an icon is a weapon. I
think that's exactly what it's going to be. Yeah.
In which case, does it even feel like an RPG, let alone a Final Fantasy RPG?
I think you'll level up the primals or the icons. I think
but if that just levels them up to unlock certain abilities, that's not RPG to me. Like,
yeah, I don't disagree, but I think that's what they're doing.
I don't feel like, I guess the best way to say it is I don't feel like I'm playing an RPG when I play Devil May Cry. Right,
yeah,
leveling up,
playing a Final Fantasy when I'm playing this, maybe. Yeah,
leveling up Ebony and Ivory doesn't feel RPG-ish to me when I'm playing Devil May Cry. We did get some new screenshots though.
They look beautiful.
They do look beautiful. And if you look
around the map,
if you look around the map, you can probably pinpoint where a couple of these are. If you look around the map that we've reviewed on previous shows. But they do look wonderful. They do look great.
So,
but what were you saying, Tark, about open world?
It clearly looks like we're going to have a big space to wander through and mobs. And this is part of where, Final Fantasy 15, you had that banter. And I think we're going to miss it if there's just one protagonist, one character that's going to take us through most of this. It's really eating at me the more we talk about it.
Yeah, I mean, you bring up a good point. So my worry is I think these look awesome. By the way, I think the areas look like very wide.
And you do get some semblance of different weaponry on Clive here in a couple of these too, where his sword isn't the same. Yeah.
I don't know if it's open world though. I'm leaning toward this is going to be like chapter based.
Okay.
And the areas are just going to be big. But I hope it's open world because I think that would be kind of cool. My gut just tells me these are gonna be it's gonna be here's your chapter and here's your areas in the chapter, and maybe you can do a little bit of Devil May Cry where you can go back to previous areas and there's enemies there, but it doesn't really do anything for you except for maybe some secrets here or there. But that I get the vibe that it's gonna be chapter based, I guess. Especially, I don't know. That's just the vibe I get.
You can check these out on the official Final Fantasy XVI website, by the way. They're right on there, added to the gallery with both of the trailers. So you can check those out if you want to see bigger versions than the B-roll versions you're seeing on today's show. Square Enix financials came out in early May, but and we saw the consolidated sheet. But that really doesn't give you what the company's kind of thinking. They did the presentation a little while later, but it finally just got translated into English a couple of days ago, so we can finally see what they presented to stakeholders on the call. Excuse me. And obviously the call was Yosuke Matsuda, a president and director of Square Enix, and then Atsushi Matsuda, the chief accounting officer. Both did presentations. Now, I'll keep it real easy. The company did well. It did well. Up 32.7 billion yen year over year in sales, up 59.2 billion yen. 12 billion yen up to 59.2. So a 12 billion increase in operating income year over year. Ordinary income up 20.8 billion. Net income attributable to parent company shareholders up 24.1 billion yen. So they were up across the board, which is good. Obviously, if you like what a company's making, you want them to be profitable. They did specifically, though, gentlemen, pinpoint poor HD games again, that department. Specifically Outriders, Marvel's Guardians of the Galaxy, and even Near Replicant version 1.224, saying net sales were lower than the previous year and below expectations. And Final Fantasy, which had seen the release of Final Fantasy VII Remake and Avengers, so kind of hard to compete with that year, right?
Yeah.
If you look back, that's what they were competing against. And they said, you know what? Yeah, we're a little disappointed at some of those things. The digital entertainment HD game section didn't quite meet it, but Final Fantasy XIV made shit tons of money, and we're okay. And by the way, the whole MMO segment did pretty well, giving specific nods to obviously 14, but also Dragon Quest X, who got its expansion in Japan last year as well. So all in all, good news, particularly on the MMO front. But HD games, that games of it, they got to start getting some stuff together. Like,
I mean, the whole last year was not really big on hits.
Yeah.
I mean,
and even the ones that were hits, they weren't in Square Enix's eyes.
Yeah, because they have this expectations that I feel are just too high. Unless it's a Final Fantasy, a Kingdom Hearts, trying to think of, or a Dragon Quest, you know. You got to bring that bar down maybe just a little bit in your expectations.
Yeah, I feel like Japan has to carry Dragon Quest a little bit, right? I feel like it doesn't sell quite as well over here as it does over there. And I guess that's the same with like Guardians, right? I would imagine Guardians of the Galaxy probably doesn't sell particularly well in Japan, but over here, like, I think it's pretty well received. So it's kind of weird. I mean, you're not going to follow Remake 1, like 7 Remake Part 1. You can't beat that. You're just not. You're not winning that fight.
Not until 16 or Part 2 comes out.
It's just like, you know, I'd hope you'd be profitable in a year where you release Endwalker. I feel like that's like...
And maybe they planned that. They're like, hey, we got this expansion. It's a boatload of money. Let's put our sus titles in that year. It'll be buoyed by 14.
I think they need to take some self-blame too, though, on their like advertising decisions.
Oh,
You know, it's
easier
just to blame.
Interesting little backtrack in the financial presentation too. Remember when they sold off Crystal Dynamics and the other studios here in the West, sold them to Embracer Group. They had said at the time that the $300 million was going to be used for their NFT/blockchain ventures that Masuda-san had talked about, you know, infamously now on his New Year's address letter, right? In the presentation, though, they said, talking about that divestiture, they said, rather than using the proceeds from the divestiture in new investment domains such as NFT and blockchain, we intend to use them primarily to fund our efforts to foster solid IP and to enhance our development capabilities in our core digital entertainment segment. So we're going to take that money instead and put it into creating and bolstering our IPs, our gaming IPs specifically. Now, that doesn't mean that they're backing out of this whole NFT blockchain thing altogether. It just means that that money, which they had said at point of sale was going to help fund this, they're now saying is not going to help fund this. Instead, they're saying our intention is to undertake fundraising efforts for our new investment domains separate from those of our core businesses, and we're considering various possibilities, including potentially establishing a CVC. I don't know how to take this. The only way I can kind of read it, Kronos, and maybe it's just the delightful optimism that is me, is that shareholders didn't like those announcements, and so there was a little pushback from the right people that maybe pumped the brakes on it a little bit. Probably didn't stop it, because I'm sure there is shareholder interest in NFT, blockchain, and stuff like that, but maybe not the public perception of Square Enix diving headfirst the way Matsuda-san's letter seemed to make it or indicate they were going to.
Yeah, this feels like a little bit of a walk back to me. Not a full walk back, right? But like somebody said something and they're like, maybe we should say something to, like, I don't know, to like calm people down a little bit. So, I mean, this makes me a little happy, but I think I'm with you too. It's not really super clear exactly what they're doing, other than just maybe trying to appease some people.
I do like that it sees 300 million in straight cash homie go to some digital IPs, digital entertainment properties. Tark, that's got to be good, right?
Sure. What kind of digital IPs were they thinking about, though? That's what I want to know.
Well, I mean, they talk about bolstering and creating solid new, so I would imagine kind of spread the wealth type deal.
Yeah, maybe this is partly going to Valkyrie Profile, spinoff thing. Maybe we can see some cool new stuff. But I'm glad it's going back into the company of what its core business is, and not into this until they have like an ecosystem that they have a plan for. Like, just with the stockholders probably talk to them. There was the crypto crash that happened in the last couple months. Everything's so volatile there.
I think their stockholders are probably totally on board because they think it will lead to profits, right? But I think they were also smart enough to say public perception is not great on this. And so this perception of you diving full long head first into it, we want you to backtrack that. But we don't actually want to stop you from doing it. We just want you to pump the brakes a little bit. Take
it slow.
They did also talk about a new entry in the Just Cause series, which is something we haven't had in a while. But what they weren't very specific on was if they're developing a whole new Just Cause Chronos, or if this was just a reference to the new Just Cause mobile game, which we've known about for a while and talked about on this show. So I don't know. There's been no clarification about that, but it was mentioned in the financial presentation.
If Square Enix is good at one thing, it's announcing other things.
Right?
Yeah, so I don't know either. They seem really good at that, though. Like, I'm waiting for the announcement that we got that we're going to get some 7 remake news, but I'm sure it'll just turn into another announcement of an announcement.
Right.
So, yeah.
Finally, before we head on over to Love It or Leave It, we don't know what it's for or what IP it's in, whether it's existing or new, but Square Enix London Mobile is looking for beta testers for an upcoming mobile RPG. They've set that tweet out. You can go sign up for that if you're interested in playing a mobile RPG from the Square Enix. No clue what it is yet or what IP it is based in, if it's even one that we know or a brand new one. So
I did sign up for it. I found it interesting that you have to be 18 to go into this beta. So there's an NDA.
There's usually the NDA doesn't surprise me. So if you have to be 18, that's why. So that doesn't necessarily mean
legal document kind of deal.
Yeah, so it doesn't necessarily mean that the game's rated M. Like that would be my first inclination. If you have to be 18 to enter the beta, it's probably rated M for mature. But because you have to sign an NDA, it makes sense that you, regardless of the game's rating, you would have to be 18. Otherwise, you can't, in the United States in particular, and elsewhere, but in the United States in particular, you can't enter into a binding contract like an NDA if you are under 18. So I don't think that would be indicative necessarily of the rating of the game if there's an NDA applied.
You're super smart.
Well, no, I've just been doing this for a long time, son. Just been doing this for a long time. Let's head over and do Love It or Leave It. Love It or Leave It is the way we end every episode of the Relic Grind here. It's where I give you something Square Enix related. Could be a game, could be a feature, a press release, something they did, something they said, and you tell me whether you love it, want more of it, or leave it. Just cast it aside on the road like a dead raccoon. Today's is going to be the idea of a Battle Royale mode in Final Fantasy XIV. Take away the specificity of it being Blue Mage, because I think that just would have been stupid to begin with. Giving them it might have been fun for a round or two, but then, it's Blue Mage and you don't want to do it. Take that away. But the idea of some type of Battle Royale-ish PvP mode in Final Fantasy XIV without that Blue Mage requirement. Kronos, love it or leave it.
I would actually want it to be Blue Mage, honestly.
Oh, you can say that.
Yeah,
that's fine.
Like, I think it's more interesting just because of the whole learn thing. I think if it's just like other jobs, like what the hell are you even doing? I don't know. It just seems less interesting to me. So for me, it's particularly Blue Mage. And I would play it. So I'm gonna say love it. I would definitely play it.
Well, Kronos, he kind of gave that indication when we were talking about that he loved it. I maybe gave a slight indication that this is absolutely a leave it. I might have like said something that maybe tipped my viewpoint. Couches, this is absolutely a
fire,
leave it. Setting couches on fire. Yeah, I didn't say uninstall.
Unsub. Sorry, unsub.
I didn't say unsub. But yeah, setting things on fire. This is 100% a leave it. Are you fucking kidding me, Kronos? What is wrong with you? So Tark, break the tie. Love it or leave it. A battle royale mode in Final Fantasy XIV.
Both. I would like a Fortnite single player battle royale with blue mages and the kind of picking up abilities all around the map and kind of condensing, and that would be cool. And then if they're gonna do with the battle jobs, make it a squad based, kind of like Warzone. Are we all done? Is that it? Kronos, where can people find you?
Are you fucking kidding me? Are you kidding me?
You know what's funny is I typically hate battle royale games.
I was just about to say, anytime I watched the damn Summer Game Fest today, and there were multiple battle royale modes, and I did the same thing everybody else did when they come out. They were like, "Oh my god, another battle royale!" Here I'm like, "Hey, put one, jam it into your Final Fantasy XIV MMO," and you're both like, "Yeah, let's do it."
Hold on. So I hate Fortnite. I don't like it at all, but I understand why it's popular. Like, I don't play this. I don't even like First Soldier, and I'm a big Final Fantasy XIV fan. It's just the idea of Blue Mage running around, learning spells, and fighting other Blue Mages sounds really interesting to me. So maybe that's the Battle Royale that I need. I don't know.
You finally found a Battle Royale that fits Kronos.
Because I typically don't like Battle Royales either.
You crazy son of a bitches. Hi, Faye. How you doing?
Looking a little broken over there.
Yeah, my soul hurts right now.
That's fair. That's
like
fair.
He wants battle royale too.
No, she doesn't. Faye,
I hate battle royales and
love it or leave it. A battle royale in 14, Faye.
Leave it.
All right, the game is tied again, boys. It's tied again.
That doesn't count. That's cheating.
It's tied again, 2-2. Faye, what are you streaming tonight?
Tiny Tina still gets business.
She's like, Fortnite.
Fortnite, let's go. Likes to go. Faye does Fortnite. Maybe I hate to say it, but that might bring a crowd. So we might have to do that one of these days. Maybe that's the return to main channel stream.
How are you doing in Wonderlands? Are you enjoying it still?
I am. I'm having so much fun.
It's good, isn't it?
It is. It's so good. That's why we're obsessively playing it here on Ready Check Radio. And yeah, because I love it so much.
It's very good. It's very good.
It is. There have been several times where I have no idea what was going on, but I ended up alive, and it was pretty fun.
So Torchwick was playing that not too long ago, a couple of weeks ago, as I walked through the living room one time, and he goes, "I'm pretty sure I just seduced a bridge," and I'm like, "Oh yeah, you totally did. Yeah, you totally did.
Totally. The writing on it is just chef's kiss, top notch.
I love it, but I can understand why it's like it's a very acquired taste. You're either going to be like, this is the dumbest thing ever, or you're just going to laugh yourself silly.
You have to,
one or the other.
Yeah, I think you have to have that appreciation of a camp sensibility to really get into it, and
liking dad jokes helps.
Yes.
Liking dad jokes
completely.
helps.
I love puns, and I'm not ashamed to admit it. So it was written for me.
Chat, don't go anywhere. Ms. Faye Death will be live in just a few minutes. We'll go dark, relabel things, and give it to her. We will, of course, be back next Thursday with another episode of The Relic Grind, and then the following week, it is time for round 3, our final round of Final Fantasy Jeopardy, to decide who goes to the finals to face off against Kronos and Mr. Happy in our Final Fantasy Jeopardy Tournament of Champions. Will it be Andrew Fusion X himself? Will it be Rook herself? Or will it be Brian Ginger Prime? One of the three of them. What's up, Tark? You want to say something?
I was going to say, maybe we can have those three break the tie for Battle Royale when we get to that.
No, I'm never talking about this again. Never talking about this
until it comes in the game.
I am rethinking.
Yes, Kronos.
I am rethinking friendships at this point. So we, of course, will be back Saturday with Gaming Gumbo, and then next Thursday. Until then, Kronos, where can everybody find your Battle Royale loving ass?
I said I liked what?
Yeah, now you like them all. Go. What do you?
Yeah,
where are you?
Okay, I guess that's how the world works. So
yeah.
you can find me.
You're either with me or you're against me Obi-Wan.
Okay.
You're with me or you're my enemy.
Only a Sith deals in absolutes. Okay, how about that?
I don't care if you have the high ground. Where's your Twitter?
It's below. So if you can follow me if you want. Maybe get some more Star Wars references. I don't know.
Tark.
Twitch, Twitter, YouTube, all at Tarkoth Gaming, doing Ultimates tonight. If you're not wanting to hang out with Faye, why wouldn't you? Faye's awesome. And then Saturday, Sunday night, playing Jedi Fallen Order here on Ready Check Radio.
I'm Mike Byrne. You can follow me personally right there, Magic Man 1, but more importantly, follow at RC Radio, RAIDEO, and we'll tweet at you every time we go live with a podcast or one of our streamers, who I love very, very much. Until next time, gang, stay safe. We'll see you on the servers. Later.